Thanks for coming in tonight. Much appreciated. My name's Damien Scanlon and I'm the MBA Director. But I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the courses that are available to you here at the University of Adelaide in the Business School. For those of you who don't know a lot about the University of Adelaide, I'll just tell you a little bit about that and a little bit about why you might want to think about doing postgraduate studies, and then I'll very briefly just give you an overview. I'm always available to talk later, but also perhaps over a coffee or something if there's something specific you want. But if it's an area that I would say I'm not the best person to speak to, I will find you the person that you need to speak to. So it's important to do your homework to find out what you really need. So the University of Adelaide, if you're not aware, and if you are students of the University of Adelaide, I apologise, you might have heard all this before, but we are always ranked in the top 1% of the world. And when you consider that this is a very small university in a very small city, a long, long way away from anywhere, and there's about 33,000 universities, it's remarkable to think that we could actually be ranked in about number 130 out of all of those. That is a remarkable thing for a very small city like this. We're a member of the Group of 8, which in Australia is the equivalent of the Ivy League. It just means that they're considered to be the elite group of universities that are very research intensive. They tend to attract the most research grants because of the quality of the work that they push out from the university, so it's very important. This university has produced the most Nobel Prize winners of any university in Australia, which is another remarkable achievement when you think about it. And those Nobel Prize winners, we have one who's living here and he actually works at the university. J.M. Coetzee, he won the Nobel Prize for Literature, and he is a professor in creative writing here, so that's quite amazing. Two of them were a father and son team. The son was only 21 when he won it. They were the Braggs, and you're probably familiar, if you are familiar with the University of Adelaide, the Bragg building, that was named because of them, because what their work did discovered X-ray crystallography, and that went on and allowed 15 more Nobel Prize winners to do some fantastic work, two of them of which were Watson and Crick, which was the double helix of DNA. Groundbreaking stuff. And of course Howard Florey, what a remarkable impact on public health, penicillin. And that's amazing to think they all were here. Well over 100 Rhodes Scholars, one of them teaches in my MBA program, well over 100 Fulbright Scholars, and alumni, about 150,000 of them around the world in about 80 different countries doing some wonderful things. The business school is accredited by the acronym AACSB, the Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business. It's an American accreditation. There's only 3 real accreditation bodies in the world. There's AACSB, Equus out of Europe, and AMBA out of the UK. AACSB is probably the most difficult one to get. Less than 5% of business schools actually have that accreditation. And some of those schools that do include Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Adelaide, Melbourne, etc., etc. So you're in very good company by having AACSB accreditation. So why would you want to study postgraduate studies? Well, I guess in this very competitive day of looking for jobs, it may give you an opportunity to advance your career. It certainly could give you a change in directions. There are many good stories where people have done a master's in a different subject matter than their original degree and have taken on a whole new career path, which is fantastic. Clearly, if you've got more postgraduate qualifications, you may be a cut above the rest of the candidates. It's you that has to get the job, of course. They don't give the job to the degree, they give it to the person. So no degree is a silver bullet, but it may give you an edge to get you through the door to the interview. So it's very, very important. And what we do in the master's program, a lot of them, we do work on your personal development, because it's not just technical stuff. If you're going to make a difference in the world and you're going to take on some senior leadership positions, you need to have a fairly strong cachet of emotional intelligence, and so you need to be sure that you understand who you are and how to work effectively with people. So that's really, really important, and we do a lot of that work as well. And of course, if you're particularly interested in something that you love to specialise in, well, what a wonderful pathway to really get some specialist knowledge in some subject matters. So there could be any number of reasons. It may be that you're struggling to find work, but it's up to you. You've got your own motivations, but they just could be some of the reasons. So we work around you as a potential student. We make sure that our courses are relevant, so we do research with the industries that we actually are giving you knowledge in. So we do make sure that we're giving potential employers exactly the attributes that they're looking for in our graduates. We try and be as flexible as we can, because we know that a lot of people do work when they do master's programs. They don't always do it full-time, so we do want to make sure that the timetables are designed so that you can actually work and study. And we also encourage you to go overseas as part of the program. It's a wonderful experience. You know, one of the great attributes that businesses want out of graduates is a global outlook. And one of the best ways to have a global outlook is go overseas and study in another culture with some other people from different cultures as well. And we have a fantastic opportunity for double degrees. So in other words, you can actually spend a year in a country and come back here and do a year here, and you get 2 degrees, which is pretty cool, I reckon. And of course, very high quality teaching class. Because of the reputation of the University of Adelaide, we do actually attract some really, really good quality teaching staff. And most of them, particularly in my program, they've all had practical industry experience. So they're not just people that are academics that just know the book, they actually do the stuff that they teach. So they're very, very close to the subject matter that they're teaching. Time commitment, everybody's different, but you know, if you've got a 3-hour class each week, we would expect you probably to do 8 to 10 hours preparation work, which will include reading and assignments and those sorts of things. So it is a big investment in your time, but at postgraduate level, I would expect that you chose to do it for very good reasons, so it's important that you invest a lot of your own time to get the results that you're looking for. I wouldn't recommend doing a master's program if you just want to pass. You really should be looking to get as much out of it as you possibly can. Assessment, you know, we're not here to trick you. This is not undergraduate stuff. This is here to help you learn. And so we try and give you different ways of assessments, whether it's individual assignments, group assignments, exams. The exams are open book, not because open book is any easier, they're not, but it's a way of recognising that people sometimes psychologically have a thing about exams, so we leave the book there. But if you don't know your work, there's no point starting reading the book on the day of the exam. I'm all right, thanks. Thank you. Do you want to flip it over? So here are all of the courses that we're offering. It's a bit repetitive and it's very superficial, but as I said, if you need more information, I can certainly point you in the right direction with the right people. They all do require an undergraduate degree. It doesn't have to be in the area, so they're not what we call extension masters. You don't have to have a marketing degree to do a master's in marketing. There's only one exception, that you can come into and do a master's course without an undergraduate degree, and that is the MBA. And the reason that is the case is that because it's a management degree, but it does require you to have at least 7 years of managerial experience. And I mean managerial experience. And so there's a lot of other hurdles that you need to get through for an MBA, but that's different. That's quite a unique thing. So we teach in trimesters, and obviously pretty self-evident where a marketing degree could lead you, whether it's advertising, sales, branding, could be any industry, but clearly it's quite versatile, so you've got actually options up your sleeve. It obviously includes PR as well. International business says it all really, you know. Clearly if you've got an international exposure to the way we do business internationally, it gives you a great insight into companies or organisations or government departments that have an international focus. And so it's really important that you actually see if you can spend time overseas and immerse yourself in that international market and pursue potential jobs in those areas that have an international focus. And I guess in today's global world, most organisations do, and certainly at the government level, we have many, many international connections. Professional accounting, if you do this course, you will be accredited by CPA. It is accredited by CPA and Certified Practicing Accountants, and also Chartered Accountants Australia. So if you want to be an accountant, financial management, auditing, financial planning, here's an opportunity for you. Finance, once again, very self-explanatory. You know, if you want to become a specialist, if you want to become a chief financial officer, great opportunity to dig deeper into the field of finance. And if you're interested in getting a qualification called CFA, Certified Financial Analyst, then that's a pathway for you. And there are multiple jobs in the finance industry. MBA, that's my subject matter. It's really for people who are already in middle to senior management and are either seeking to go further, CEO perhaps, general manager, or they're in a more technical role and they're finding that they're doing more project management or people management, but their technical background didn't actually equip them with the softer skills and some of the financial skills that they needed to actually take on leadership roles. So it's a very different program. It's taught very, very differently. It's very experiential. They're not what we call traditional lectures. They're very much seminars where you come to debate, discuss, critically analyse. But we do require you to have a fair degree of work experience. And when I look around the room here, there's probably not too many people that would qualify for an MBA. But it's something you might want to think about when you've had quite a few years of work experience. Wine business. As you know, the South Australian economy has a big chunk of wine. We produce 60% of Australia's wine production. China is our largest importer of Australian wine. We have many Chinese students here, so the contacts between China and Australia are high, and wine is a big part of that. And so I think it's a really good opportunity in a great market, a burgeoning market. It doesn't look like it's going to be actually going away. It looks like it's going to remain a very strong part of the South Australian economy, and it could be a huge opportunity for you to get involved in business development, cellar door, once again, international marketing, tourism. It could be any number of things in wine business. Global food and agricultural business. Once again, South Australia with agribusiness, big part of our economy here as well. But there are a lot of countries that are very concerned about food security, water quality, those sorts of things. So this gives you some skills to perhaps work in those communities where you can develop those food securities and water qualities and those things. So you may be able to work in, you know, resource sustainability, work in developing countries, export, trade, whatever the case might be. But food is going to get more and more important because of the nature of our global economy, the population growth that we've got, the demand for things around agribusiness, and so it's going to be really, really important for people to understand how do we build a sustainable business that's secure and high quality. Economics, pretty clear, self-evident. If you wanted a job in economics, there's a lot of statistics, econometrics. It's actually my background originally. And all organisations, particularly banks, have economists. A lot of other organisations, like real estate organisations, have economists, always trying to actually look what's going to happen in the future so they can make some decisions, particularly around investment or even product development, and moves in the marketplace to be sure that, you know, they can understand what's coming up. Economists usually get it wrong, I should say. None of them picked the global financial crisis, but all of them afterwards told us why it happened, so I thought that was hilarious. International trade and development, well, that's what makes the world go around these days. There's an awful lot of flow, particularly Australia. We're a very big export market and we're a big importer, and you'll learn about the balance of trade in economics. But obviously, trade is important. It's always going to be important. There'll be jobs in government and analysing trade. There'll be jobs in businesses that export. There'll be jobs in businesses that want to export. So even if they don't export today, maybe there's opportunities they want to. So very important part of the business going forward. Business law, if there's you don't have to have a law degree, and I'm pretty sure a Master of Law won't necessarily give you a license to practice law. You may not be admitted to the bar, but it will give you a level of skills that you can work as a counsel inside an organisation based on what you pick up in that course. So Most organisations, big organisations, do rely on legal assessments of things, and that could be a huge opportunity for people wanting to break out into a whole new area. Property, everyone says we're in a bubble. You know, there's obviously, with the housing market particularly, having said that, there's a lot of, you would notice there's quite a few cranes around the South Australian, the Adelaide city, so there's a lot of building going on. How did they make those decisions? You know, what was it about, you know, those decisions that they needed to think about? You know, what's the investment aspect of property portfolios? What are the returns? Leasing is big in this city. Leasing in any city is very big. Huge amount of jobs in property leasing. So many array of opportunities for people who take on a property masters. Planning. Well, planning is almost part of the property portfolio in some ways. All councils have urban planners. They have to think about how cities, what some of the rules and the policies around neighbourhoods, lifestyles, so things around what's appropriate to build, how much green space do they have, how much space do they dedicate to recreation, all part of the portfolio of jobs that planners have to think about when it comes to building cities and neighbourhoods. Really interesting area. Project management, well, project management covers, you can be in the mining industry, you can be in the IT industry, and projects can be big or small, but they do understand they all tend to have a level of complexity, they tend to have a level of financial accountability, they will have timelines, they will have milestones, and so you will learn a whole heap of things about how to effectively manage a project in a complex system. So it's quite a good degree to have, because most organisations at some stage have a requirement of projects across different facets. Innovation and entrepreneurship. Well, I think our Prime Minister once said last year that innovation or entrepreneurship is the new black. With the manufacturing industry, of the car industry particularly, closing down, there's a big need, particularly in this state, to try and create an innovative and entrepreneurial city. How do we go from traditional manufacturing to advanced manufacturing? How do we become smart manufacturers? How do we can create jobs through entrepreneurs? How do we be nimble and quick? So it's very important that we actually start thinking about what's the university's responsibility to actually give people insights to innovation and entrepreneurship. There are a number of scholarships associated with this because it is important. We've actually recently appointed a Pro Vice Chancellor for Entrepreneurship. This university now recognise how important entrepreneurship is for this state, and they have a very big role to play. So lots of insights into venture capital, commercialisation, innovation with this particular course, and I think it would do well for anyone interested in starting up their own business. It could be a really fantastic way for you to take on the confidence that you could actually start up your own business. Yes, thank you. And where the university is in Nexus 10, is on the ground on the first floor building what we call a Think Lab as basically an incubator. So we're actually going to supply a little hub for potential entrepreneurs to come in and work with people. We'll have people to showcase some of their perhaps inventions or ideas, a place for people to get together to see if they can come up with some really innovative ideas. So the university is actually spending a lot of money in this area because of the importance, particularly for this state. Oh, is that it? Yep. All right. So as I said, I've rushed through it because it's to go through that in detail. You can all do your homework. You've all got degrees. You're all smart. What I'm trying to give you here tonight is just a bit of an overview of what you might want to think about and what's possible, and for you to sort of think, well, if I'm going to do postgraduate study, I've got a whole heap that I could choose from, and what really actually gives you something that you think you can get your teeth into, think that you can actually get something out of, and think, how am I going to make a difference in my personal life? But as I said, do your homework, and if you need to speak to anyone more deeply about it, then please come to me, and I can put you in the right in the right direction for the person.